Hey guys, Matt with CJ Off-Road here. Today we stripped our Jeep down and it is soft top weather here in Pennsylvania and most of the rest of the country. So we're going to show you how to install a Bestop Trektop onto your 2018 two-door JL. The installation process will be pretty close to a four-door and we'll show you how to do everything so you can get this top installed on your Jeep and start enjoying that nice weather. So the first step for this installation is going to be some construction of pieces that we're going to use while we install it on the Jeep. Now what we've got here is our upper door surrounds and the lower sections. Now these need to be bolted together. What we're going to do is grab our driver and passenger side and the lower corresponding parts, as well as these smaller 6mm Allen key bolts. We'll grab 4 of these stop nuts and 4 of the washers. Now you're going to need a 4mm Allen key as well as a 10mm wrench to get these installed. And what you'll do is we've got the passenger one here. You will line it up so they slot into the grooves, and this lower section is going to face towards the back of the vehicle. So it's going to sit in just like that, and we'll get it bolted together. So we'll go ahead and throw a washer on the bolt there, slide it through the top, and then we can grab our stop nut and just get that started down below. There's going to be 2 per side. Slide that one through, put our stop nut on. And I'm going to get this snug and make sure that this is aligning properly. You can see that there is some play with it. And we want to make sure when we look at it from the outside that these are lined up perfectly, because this is where it's going to slot in for the rear windows. So now we're just going to tighten them up. Like I said, I'll get them pretty snug, check them on the outside, and then we'll tighten them all the way if we look good. You can see that we're really close here. You want to make sure that this is just about flush. We can get it really close there. The Bestop finish on everything makes everything really smooth and really line up the way it should. So we'll get that finish tightened up, repeat the same process on the other side, and move on. So while we've got our door surrounds installed and completely assembled here, the last thing we need to do is put in this Bestop logoed piece. Now what you can do with this is actually color match it or paint it to an accent color of your Jeep. And then that gets put on through the backside with some smaller T8 Torx screws. So there's going to be 5 screws per side. I'll line it up here, but these do look really cool if you color match it. I've seen a couple other YouTubers that have done that. Fortunately for us, we don't have any Mojito paint, so we're just going to leave them black for now, but maybe that'll be a video we do in the future. So we'll get one started. I like to do one on either end to get them started and then tighten those down. That way all the other holes stay lined up. So the next step is actually to put the soft top assembly. That's going to be in the larger yellow Bestop bag. We're going to put that on the table, and we do need to assemble some parts here on the front section. Now I have this flipped over, so here's the front of the top, and these are the rail assemblies that go down there. We're going to go ahead and grab this smaller bracket. You can see it's got an indentation as well as 2 holes. And what we're going to do is that's actually going to sit just like so, and we're going to assemble all this. It's going to go in the order of bolt, then washer. We'll put that through the outside of the bracket. These bushings have a smaller side and a larger side. We're going to put the smaller side facing the inside of the bracket. Push that back just a tad. Slide that in. Might have to pull the bolt back and forth. Put another side of the plastic bushing, and that's going to slot into that hole. Push that through. Grab a washer. Slide that on. And then we can go ahead and put our stop nut onto the back there. Go ahead and get it tightened up using an 8mm box wrench and a 3mm Allen key. And then repeat the exact same process on the other side. So in preparation to get the top installed, we're going to install our door surrounds. Now these will set up into place. And with the JLs, you actually do have a small hole in the back here, or on the top of the roll cage, and these actually slot into it. So we'll make sure that those are slotted in, and then we'll grab our longer T40 bolts. Those will go up through the bottom. And we can start that one. We'll make sure the rear is slotted in. Start that one, and then we can tighten these up using a T40 Torx bit. We also want to make sure the seal up here isn't collapsed, so it looks good here. we'll get everything tightened up. Using one of the smaller T40 Torx bolts, you'll see that there's a little bit of yellow thread locker. This is going to hold the bottom support of the door surround onto the tub. We'll align that and get it installed using a T40 Torx bit. Once you have that tightened down, we'll repeat the same process for the other door surround. The next step is to install our brackets for our tailgate bar. Those will simply line up into place, and then we'll use the M8 T40 Torx bolt that has the built-in washer. Slot that in, get it started by hand. Some of the times you can actually get most of the threads done by hand instead of using a ratchet. And this is actually going to use a T50 Torx bit to get it snug down. Now these are plastic pieces too, so don't go crazy on them. There will be a little bit of misalignment. You can leave them a tad bit loose, but you want to make sure it's snug. We'll repeat the exact same process on the other side, then we can move on. All right guys, now we are going to install some brackets here on top of the Jeep. Now what we've got are these brackets next to the door surrounds on top of the roll cage. So we've got a couple holes here, and this is going to actually face towards the inside of the vehicle. You can see that this piece rides along and then points in towards the center of the Jeep, and this will go on top of the second bracket. And what these are all going to get is going to be a T40 Torx bolt with the yellow thread locker on them. So what we're going to do is go ahead and just get this one started. I like to just get a couple threads, put this one on. There's one all the way here in the rear. So up front, you'll have this smaller bracket that aligns with the front bracket, and then you also want to make sure that the nuts are going to be welded on and they're down so we can thread these in through the top. Then we get this all snugged up. There is some adjustment here, it looks like, and I don't know which one it's going to adjust, but we'll leave this one a little bit loose. That way if we have to adjust it when we're threading these in, we can do that. So just a little tip for you. So we're going to use a T40 Torx bit to tighten all these down. So I'm going to leave that maybe a little bit tighter than this. So you can see we've still got some adjustment here. That way, unless we need to move this or this section for some reason, we can do that. This one all the way tight. We still move it up here. Once you get everything snugged up, repeat the same process on the other side. So the rear bar is going to install just like so. It's over the brackets that we just installed, and the buttons are going to be towards the inside of the vehicle. We'll go ahead and grab our 4 T40 Torx bolts and go ahead and snug these up. I did start one on the other side to make sure that we are lined up. Then we can install our other bolts and tighten those down as well. I'll tell you what guys, the yellow thread lock that they've been using on these, they make the bolts go in a lot tighter, but I'm definitely sure that they are not going to move for a very long time. The next piece we're going to be installing is this straight rod. The only thing you need to look out for is that this slotted side is going to go towards the rear of the Jeep. That's the only thing you can change up on this, is the slotted side, and make sure that's at the rear of the Jeep. So we're going to use the T20 Torx bolts that come with this and get them started on each side. We're going to get these tightened up using a T20 Torx bit. There's also yellow thread lock on them, so while you're tightening it, not to strip them out. So we've got the soft top on the vehicle. The bracket we installed earlier were actually screw on to the door surround. So this is just going to use 2 of these M6 bolts, and there's brass threads right into the door surround that these will go into. And all we're going to do is get that hand tight, and we'll move on to the other side, do the exact same thing. Once we get the entire top installed, then we'll come back and fully tighten it down. So we're going to attach this front bow to the bracket we mounted onto the roll cage. We're going to go ahead and use our plastic bushings like so, put our bolt with a washer on it, put that through, get a washer on the backside, and then our stop nut. Now these are really well illustrated in the instructions too, so definitely look at that when you're putting these on and make sure that you have it in the correct orientation. And then we can get this tightened up and go over to the other side and repeat the exact same process. So we've got this center bow all mounted up, and this is how it should look when it's all done. You've installed the plastic bushings into there as well as up front, and you can see it'll move freely and be able to fold over. The next thing we want to do is actually take the entire soft top material and we'll walk it over the Jeep, And then on these, you're gonna have some Velcro sections where they're actually just wrap around and clip onto itself, so we'll get those done. This little section will clip into the hole on the door surround, and that's to keep tension on the front. You wanna make sure you do that on both. You can see it's just a little Z-clip. It just slides in there and it'll sit just like that. So in this back section where you almost have a face mask looking bar, you're actually gonna wrap this section around and clip it on to the button heads. You'll hear some snaps, but you'll wrap it through the center of it, not around the entire thing, just through the center. Now after that, we are gonna install some Velcro strips along this thinner bar. We're gonna center them up in these two center sections, and on the back here, we're gonna measure 3.5 inches over and put them on right from there. So 3.5, and then we'll put them on. We'll get that done and stick these down and then move towards the front. So next what we're gonna do is just get the Velcro strapped around all the bars that I mentioned before. There's gonna be one in the center and then one in the mid section in between where you sit. And after that's strapped down, we can start with the windows. The rear window will slot right into the rail here. We can run that all the way across. And then we can attach our tailgate bar into the proper brackets. Line that up in the center, and then we can get our side windows on. What we're gonna do is we'll slot it in through the top here, push it as far front as we need to, and then we will work our way back. What I wanna do first though is also get the J-hook up top here installed, and that'll just clip over the face mask looking rear lower piece. You do not wanna force this. It does take a little bit of finesse to get it on there, but it'll go on. Once we have that, we can patch this entire panel, pull it down, and then work our way on the front as well as down here and get the back all situated. So guys, I can't stress this enough. When working on a soft top, it's really important to do this out in the sun. We're doing it in the shop now, and you can see there's a nice gap on both sides on the back. What you really want to do is let this sit outside and bake. You're going to let this bake. The material will loosen up. Even though it's a twill, it's still going to loosen up. The windows will loosen up for you, and it'll be much easier to do. You do not want to do this in cold weather because you can actually start to rip out some of the stitching and really have issues. So do not force it. It'll go on, it'll look nice, but let it sit out in the sun for a few hours and then come back to it. All right guys, well that wraps up the installation of this Bestop Trektop on our 2018 two-door JL. Now this one here is in the twill material, and I love the way it looks. Plus it wasn't too bad to get it installed. I'd highly recommend this doing it on a nice day, particularly 80 degrees or higher with some good sunlight out. That way everything can stretch, and you might even want to let this sit out a few hours before you start the installation. It'll make the windows and everything like that go on a little bit easier. With only some mild tools and no drilling or modification necessary, we got this installed in I would say about 2 to 3 hours doing it on camera. So this is definitely something you can do in your driveway with some limited tools and get yourself and your Jeep looking really good like this. This is a great time to do it in the springtime to get your Jeep ready for the summer. Plus this gives you a very versatile look and that clean fastback look on the back. It really makes it look a whole lot more aggressive. Especially with our Jeep, we've got the bright Mojito here. Now, if you want to check out this Bestop soft top as well as many other great Bestop parts for both your Jeep and your Gladiator, be sure to visit us at cjponyparts.com.